Hi guys, here from Wels. It's a very nice industrial town. I'm here to explain some things about Wels and about Upper Austria and about integration, because that's also very important. We have to have a better integration system. Wels is a very important industrial center, and it is one place in Austria where we have not managed immigration and integration very well. And so what's happening? Because here is such a huge economic cluster, and it's a traditional center of immigration, because most of the people who came here, they came here after World War II, and they have brought all their networks and your friends and from the refugee crisis of the post World War II world, and they have then been very successful here. And many of the companies here from this region are traditionally extremely successful. This is the heart of the Austrian industry. Wels is full of SMEs and very successful. But where's the problem? We have not managed the transition very well the last years. Because here, for example, you see old companies and the high taxation level and the high regulation level has led to compliance problems. Then there was a lot of new people arriving here, and then you see that Wels is unfortunately ruled by the nationalists, because you divide the people with high regulation, with high taxation, and the new arrived new Austrians, many of them from Albania, from Bosnia, from Serbia. Much of the youth is dominated here by the newly emigrated and newly arrived, or the second generation, and then there's conflict because we were not open enough. We were not inclusive enough, and we didn't have the right culture like you should have it in the United States of America, for example. Inclusiveness and welcoming culture. This is highly important. And Wels unfortunately didn't have it. And now you have this kind of confrontational situation. And then this has effects also in politics. And that was the problem. And so I'm attracting some attention in my podcasting, but I want to call for a more open Austria, because that's the tradition of the students. The students were basically the people who were integrating in new places. They came to be studying, for example, in Vienna. That was the idea, and they brought their colors with them from wherever they came, and then they were basically the foreigners. And then they united in their colors, and they were coming and bringing their culture from all over the places, for example, to Vienna, Prague, or other cities. That's the tradition. That's how it developed. To be a foreigner, to be their own club, the migration community of the students, and they were forming in these colors. That's the history of student fraternities, and they were then uniting and integrating themselves, and that was the way it worked for centuries. And then they were supporting each other and staying together, lifelong connected. Now the immigration communities do the same, but what is important is that the authorities offer them a clear direction and a clear integration path, and a successful way to integrate. This is so important, and here in Wels that has not worked so well up to now because of the political unwillingness to regulate and to manage that well in a kind of openness culture. Then you have the divisive politics, and then we are in a mess. And then you have the nationalists in power, and Wels is the city where we have the biggest group of the so-called the nationalists. They're bad guys, to make it clear. And that's the problem of Wels. And I think with a new political approach, we should change that. We should have more openness, more inclusiveness, a common labor market, and also a new tradition of friendship and of mutual understanding, because all the people who came to Wels, almost everybody, is from the Balkans. They are from Kosovo, Serbia, Bosnia, Croatia, from Bulgaria, Romania, and they were successfully working in the private industry, in many manufacturing, metal manufacturing especially, but also other sectors. And that's very good. And this culture is missing, and we need to change that, and we will be much more successful with my proposals and my approach than currently, and it will be less controversial politics, and it's of course what the nationalists don't want. And so this openness approach is absolutely essential for the future. I'm just looking for my installation for my NATO speech. Where to make that? Oh, here, the SPÖ. That's not what I like. But I'm actually somehow promoting a coalition even with them. If our own guys don't call for NATO, then, but also the SPÖ is not for NATO. I'm very deeply disappointed by our own guys that they are not courageous enough to call for NATO membership. And I will call for all Albanians and all Bosnians and all Kosovo Albanians to promote NATO membership, and that the new Austrians hopefully will dominate the debate for Austria to have a better security environment. It's very much in their interest because they will benefit the most from Austria, which is run on European terms, and in their countries they are absolutely for NATO, and that's the future because all their countries are also in NATO. I'm just trying to find the right spot to make my NATO appeal. Yeah, let's see. I'm not so often in NATO, also in Wels. I worked in Wales. I worked for a politician from Wales, which some of you might know, Mr. Rübing. But I don't know Wales very much because it was always as a Linz guy, you have some prejudices. But it is nice, and I will just check. But what I want to say, openness is key to prosperity. Wales, you need to be more open. Thanks a lot. Bye.